Guys, welcome back to another week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Kirk, and my co-host and friend...
Graham K. Hello, everybody. Kirk has an autistic son. I have an autistic brother.
True.
What is happening with your son, JJ?
JJ's doing good. I just got
What
off...
does JJ stand for?
Jacob Jerry.
Jacob Jerry. It's
Named
funny.
after-
I've never even asked that.
Well, we named him after both his grandfathers.
Yeah.
And JJ is also my dad's nickname because my dad was John Jerry. So a little double nomenclature.
Such a southern name.
JJ?
We'll give you two first names.
Oh, two first
John
names.
Jerry.
John Jerry.
Yeah.
Well, his name was going to be
John Jerry Smith.
His name was
You
gonna
need a
be-
little bit of extra if your last name's Smith.
You got to have something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise his name was going to be John Smith,
Yeah.
which would be tough.
Yeah.
When I checked in with my wife on our honeymoon, we checked in as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and they gave us a look. Really?
Yeah.
And I was 22, and I looked like I was 12. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You must have looked so young when you were 22.
Yeah. I have a fat little baby face.
Holy crow. Wow.
30 years ago.
When people find out
25
Kirk
years ago.
has, a 26-year-old daughter now?
25.
25-year-old daughter, their jaws drop. And a balding son.
There was this little group of women, girls, on the last cruise. I just got off yesterday, about 25. And they're kind of trying to be a little flirty. I'm like tired.
I'm 100.
Yeah. And I'm like,
But
and like,
this is-
how old's your daughter? 25. That's how old we are. I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not super engaged.
Yeah. You're,
but that's
you're
how-
weirding me out.
That's our age.
Yeah,
I know.
that's bad. You get that that's...
That doesn't make this ideal. This isn't
Yeah.
there's things I like about
Yeah.
this, a lot of things I don't like about this.
Mostly not. Okay, well, at least you're a good guy. Okay, moving on. Every time I hear JJ, I think of where I grew up. JJ means Jean-Jacques,
Oh,
which is French Canadians do
Super
that.
French.
They do that, and they do the same thing. They're a little hillbilly-ish, French Canadians,
it is funny.
and they add the two first names,
It is funny.
John and Jack.
They are a little
Jean-Jacques. And there's a-
hillbilly is a yeah, there's something a little like, yeah.
yeah, well, maybe if hillbilly-ish is...
Well, they're not as sophisticated as Parisian French, I'll say
Absolutely not. Well, I don't mean to be insulting if you're from the South and I just called you a hillbilly. I'm sorry. I mean like a little country. How about
A little
that?
country,
You
yeah,
like
yeah,
that? Yeah. People from Quebec, when they go to France, people from France will return conversation in English because they think that they don't speak French. And literally, that's the only language they speak. Most people in Quebec don't speak English.
That was another adjustment when I went there. I couldn't believe it. Like, you barely speak French.
Yeah.
I went to French class, and yours
Well, what it is
very tough.
I know we're getting off topic.
Yeah, sorry.
But there are people with autism in Quebec. There you go.
Hey, right back.
Yeah, right back. But they're leftover people from leftover working class people from France.
Yeah, the French immigrated here too. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Back
they're like
here in
all they're
America.
basically there's only like a couple hundred last names in Quebec because they're descendants of like 600 soldiers that stayed.
Okay.
And soldiers are like working class poor people. So then now there's like 5 million of them, and they're all called Jean-Jacques Daignon. Anyway, I know we got off topic there. I apologize. How is Jean-Jacques
Good.
Smith?
We had a good call today. Yesterday. We're due for a call any second here. Any second he's going to call. But I think good. He's a week ago, 10 days ago, I was in California with my parents, and so he calls every day at 2, and so I flipped the phone, twisted a little bit out of my hand so they could see, hey, say hi to JJ, and so my mom and dad are like, hi, and I'm always surprised that they're surprised at the progress he makes, because I'm seeing him every day,
Oh, yeah.
every 2-3 months in person, and I showed him the video, you can see on my Instagram of him building a cabinet with my help, and he's doing all the nails, and they couldn't believe it. I can't believe he's not screaming. He's not like, no, he hasn't screamed like that in a while. He doesn't do that as much anymore. And I forget.
It's great.
I
That's
forget.
great to see. Is that it's nice to be reminded, the reflection.
Of how far he's come.
Yeah, it's like when Yeah, it's like when you see a picture of you and your old college buddies. You're
When
like,
I was
oh,
handsome, yeah,
we have
and I
aged.
didn't have a belly.
You
Yeah.
think, oh, we look kind of the same. It's like, no, we
That's
do
exactly
not.
it.
Yeah.
You know what else is like? You see a kid, I'm like, I feel like I look young, and you just said, oh, you look young for your age. Okay. And then I'll see a kid who's like 21. I'm like, well, I don't look like that. I'll tell you
It
that.
would be disturbing if you did. Yeah, yeah.
So he's doing good. We had a nice call yesterday. I go out there again in 4 weeks. I'm doing this is a weird first for me, but I'm going to do a ship in Europe and then get off the ship in Stockholm and just take the train to his house.
Cool.
I'm excited about that.
And the ship they do that for you?
Yeah, first time.
You told them, and they're like, yeah, we'll try that.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So I was like, really? Great.
Good for you for asking. Good for them for doing it.
Yeah. So I get out in Germany, Washingburg. I can't remember the port.
Kirk, by the way, is not just taking an ocean liner to Europe. He's performing on a cruise.
Oh yeah, no, I'm working.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a trunk of his gowns.
The little hack is obviously they'd pay for my flights, so then they pay for my flight obviously because I'm working.
Kirk can split. I think a lot of parents, with disabled children, you just have this amazing skill. You
try
can
to survive.
split a nickel down the middle. We got 2 nickels.
Oh, you gotta survive.
Yeah, incredible. And but anyway, how do you think that JJ recognizes your parents? It's tough because they're on the phone and everything, but
So in person, my mom's been out there almost every year, right? And so in person, he definitely warms to her like after the second day. Yeah, yeah, he definitely does. He hugs her and like I don't know if he understands maternal relationships, fraternal relationships, who conceived who, all that, but he definitely recognizes them at some level as someone who was in his life or is in his life, and so yeah, it's good. That's
What-
go ahead.
go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I was just gonna say that's one of the tough ones, right? I'm always concerned about him getting visitors, to have people come see him. He doesn't get a lot of visitors, so I always, trying to push my family a little bit to go be involved in his life. Yeah.
What do they think about him being in Sweden?
Yeah, it's a godsend, as far as I met after the show last night, literally, did a big theater show on a Carnival ship, and a guy came up to me, it was out of Tampa, and he goes, I am a child psychologist out of Tampa. We're talking a little bit, I'd like to buy your book, and he goes, no, I get it. This is his words, I love Florida, but the mental health care budgets here are terrible. And so it's just, he's like, I totally get it. I would do the same thing. So it's a tough one, right? There's like no matter what you do as a parent, you're going to feel guilty about, I could have done this, I should have done this, in hindsight. But, I'm not some Rhodes Scholar, medicine winning, Nobel Prize winning something. I'm just some idiot who has a kid doing my best. I don't know what's happening.
But your parents aren't like, he should be in America. They're not like,
no, doing what? Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
They're not offering to pay. I don't have the money to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And there are no places like that in America, right? There's no facilities.
Well, in theory there are, right? Because in theory there are. I've got a friend, Bill Matthews, who's just started a home in Kingman, California, for his son.
So private.
And, well, they're going to get public funding,
Okay.
but the public funding part is complicated, and then they're going to supplement what's not available with private funding. And he's my friend, but he's also a 70-year-old man who's now retired, and he's going to dedicate his full time to doing the paperwork, doing this, doing that. So it's not like we're at other places where it's easily accessible. I feel like it's intentionally difficult. In October as we get closer, I'll get the dates. But in October, I will be out in California, Northern Cal, doing a benefit for him to raise money for this home. I'm volunteering my time to go do that. So there are things available like that, but they're fewer and far between. And if his thing is just getting its legs under it, but if it had been available 5 years ago when I first, I'm really hesitant to move JJ. He's very happy.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to get him in there.
Yeah.
Even in Sweden, it's been very hard to we talked last week about him getting a job and my complaints. I got an email back from one of the guys in the municipality who emailed me back about I was expressing my concerns to him about JJ's job. It's been 3 years. We're working on that. And so to just...
What did he say?
I can read that. But I was just going to say, just to change his situation. And if they're still working out the kinks, and if it doesn't go well, and then I got to change it back. Honestly, sounds like an absolute nightmare for me. Just to have to do.
Yeah.
Just the physical moving.
But he would be
around.
closer to you, though. That'd be one thing.
He'd be closer.
And
but if
you
it
think it
doesn't
would
work
be
out, and I got to get him back, and I got to get him back in the system, and
right. Well, I think that you could kind of figure out if it was going to work out if you visited your friend's facility. I think you could kind of tell if they have, because now you know what he needs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. My hesitation isn't with my friend. My hesitation is with the way the federal system is set up and the funding and how slow they are.
Yeah.
And you, in my opinion, you can't pay the workers minimum wage. That's another thing my buddy does. He
No, you cannot pay these people minimum wage.
No.
They're going to pay these people minimum wage.
So then he has to help supplement their income.
Are you
so they stick
serious though?
around.
They're going to pay
something
these
like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Mental health, bro. Like, yeah. I mean,
So you can work at Walgreens, or you can work. Why? This is a skilled position that you have to go to school for.
That's the thing. So why would you do this?
You should make minimum 6 figures a year for doing that.
That's not what's happening. No. In California, so minimum wage might be $15 an hour, but still, $30,000 a year. It's hard to make a living in California. Your house is $1 million or $500,000.
You can't.
So
you just can't. I know. I've done it.
Yeah.
I seriously. I've
We
made
both have.
I've made $30,000 in California.
Yeah.
I've made.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a nightmare.
Everything is too expensive. I mean, it's not like I live in a cheap place now, but I mean, like at least in. Yeah. Anyway, you can't have a son with a disability. You can't have a son.
Brian Kelly, he used to be one of the writers on Conan. That's a great joke. It's like me and my wife thought we couldn't have children. That's what our landlord told us, or something like that. He had these great little misdirection jokes. They're so funny. Change the subject back. Yeah, so I got a message from longtime listeners. Know we had a meeting a few weeks ago with the Job Placement Center. The lady who is the boss of the staff at his housing place. What am I trying to say? What is this?
Group home?
Group home, and his good man, it's called, which is like his social worker, good man, which is a woman, of course, because women are the best. And and then I got the emails of his boss and his boss's boss and the mayor. And so we emailed everybody. So I got my first response Friday. I understand I'm not going to say the name. I don't want to embarrass anybody. We're just trying to push this. I understand your frustration. It's not okay that the time that your son has been waiting for the job placement. And I'm truly hope we can resolve this by this summer.
That's good.
We will sure. And he's writing in English, which is not his native language. Yeah. We for sure will have a job placement for Jacob during this year. So I felt like at least I'm not being ignored. Now the question is, as we talked about, do I keep escalating this thing, or
I think I think you say thank you very much. I look forward to what happened next. I appreciate your quick response. And just what's something like that, and let it sit.
So
that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I don't want to be placated and pushed out farther, though. Yeah, of course.
Nobody wrote back. You said the right thing, and not everything's bad sometimes.
No, I agree.
But yeah, that is frustrating.
To me, one of the obvious ways to fix this whole thing is,
you're talking about funding in America.
Yeah, is teachers are underpaid, and I feel like that's something that gets plenty of attention, if not resolved. But plenty of people know that teachers are underpaid. But if teachers are underpaid, the people that have to teach disabled people, and also every once in a while change my son's pants because he accidentally pooped himself, should be paid more than $30,000 a year. That job is really hard. So.
Yeah.
I don't want
someone. I don't want someone who's making $30,000 a year and it's their last resort as a job to be taking care of my disabled child. I want an expert. I want someone who has had multiple choices in their career.
This is what they feel called to do.
And this is what they feel called to do. And they feel empowered to do it financially, that they can do it. I want someone with options who's chosen this. So, yeah, it's one of the, look, I truly love living in America. I think Americans are really good people. I really, really do. I've traveled the world. Americans are very kind, nice people. I really worry about having children here because I know things can be better. I come from a place where there's just people aren't discarded like that. You know?
There's a book called The Fourth Turning. I was looking it up trying to figure out if I remember it. It's about basically how history moves in cycles, and there's every 80 years the society resets because all the lessons you've learned, that generation dies.
Yeah.
And you have to relearn the lessons basically again.
Yeah, we're going through dark ages right now.
Kind of. So I think there's going to be a big reset in about 10 years. And one of the things they're going to look at is, I think, this new generation, mental health seems to be like a real hot button issue. Every young person I talks about, their mental health and this. And so I'm hoping with this new, I've mentioned this before, but, we have plenty of money to go have wars and kill each other. But whenever we want to help each other, that's too expensive. So I hope that'll be re-examined and we can at least fund the services for the poor and disabled.
There's also other ways, there's tax dodgers out there who aren't contributing the same percentage that I'm contributing to American society. I spend a lot of money on taxes in this country. A good portion of my income. Anyway, we don't need to get into that. I feel
like you just wrote a check.
Yeah, I did. I paid my taxes. So my accountant he's from I think he's from Staten Island or something. He's great. I like him. I think I'm with him because I like his accent.
Hilarious.
He's like,
that's the radiators.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. So my friend is from here, and he's like, he's Jewish, and he's like, I got a crooked account. He's gonna be great. I'm like, oh, good. Yeah, get some deals.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He was joking about crooked, but I bet with my job, you can't really. Everything's out in the open, so I don't want to anyway. But anyway, so. He just always messes up.
Great.
Yeah. So
I have an accountant who might not be literate. Oh,
I paid a big whack of taxes. Then I got a friggin' letter from the IRS saying you owe more.
Right.
And it's like another rent check just flew out the door. And I was like, ugh. I was like, come on, man. He's like, I call my guy, and he's like, yeah, that was my fault. Yeah, I mixed some numbers up. Hey, do me a favor. You got a Venmo? Listen, I made the mistake. I'll pay the fine.
Hilarious.
He's great, but I guess not a great. Anyway, so yeah, I want results for my tax dollars. I want these kids to be taken care of. Okay, go ahead.
Should I grab this real
I don't
quick?
want them. Yeah.
We can edit this out if it's too. Hey, buddy. How you doing, JJ?
We're talking.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit. How you doing? Did you go for a walk today? What'd you get up to?
Talk.
Did you go see the horse?
Oh, real. Huh? Get.
I think you said you were gonna watch a video. You're not very talky today. I'm thinking about you, bud.
Get. Where?
He's been a little tired today because of the allergy.
One at a time. Why didn't they like it?
One at a time. Well, I'm doing my little show right now, buddy. I'm thinking about you, though, JJ. I love you, son.
Like it?
I like it. You want to call me tomorrow? I miss you.
Yes, bye-bye.
Give me a kiss. Where's my kiss? Thank you. All right, bye, son. Call me tomorrow. I love you. Bye. Can I get a wave? Oh, no wave. There. Don't pick your nose. Don't pick your nose. A wave. Can I get a wave? Bye. Bye. See you tomorrow. I love you. Bye, son.
He is sweet. He is sweet though. He's cute, man.
He's a sweet boy.
Yeah. He
He's
he
big.
gave you a little kiss.
He always gives
Oh
me a
man,
little
that
kiss.
made me cry a bit. That's so nice.
No crying. No crying, Graham. No crying in
Oh,
baseball.
He gave me a little kiss, and then he goes. Kirk goes, "Can you give me a wave?" And he starts picking his
Pick his
nose. And he goes, "Give me a wave." And he goes, "All right." And he gives him a little wave. It's pretty cute.
Allergy season, he's going to pick his nose.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I get that.
It's tough to compete with allergy season.
Sure. Probably a lot of pollen up there.
A lot of pollen.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Sorry, I cut you off. We do a 2 o'clock call. It's 2 o'clock in New York. Yeah. Graham is crying. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, it hits you in the feels, huh?
It's nice.
Yeah.
Um,
He's a sweet boy. It's just a nice little call just to check in on, make sure he's not covered in bruises or something. I don't know. I just want to make sure he's okay.
it's good for him to see his dad's face.
Yeah.
You know.
Just someone's checking in on him.
Yeah. And I mean, you can tell just by you could hear the good men lady in the background, and
That was when it was AIDS, yeah.
you could tell that she's enjoying. She's not burnt out or sad. She's giggling and
Well,
like,
the other thing they do in Sweden is they staff it right. It's
Yeah.
not like 2 people watching 7 people. It's like 20 people, and they rotate through in shifts, and it's like, I mean, they work hard, but it's not, the staffing level is appropriate. They can take, it's Sweden. They're still taking 7-8 weeks vacation every year. It's like, yeah, man.
mm-hmm.
That's a whole different discussion about vacation in this country, but that's one of the ones that stupefies me as well.
Yeah.
When working class people are like, oh, they take too much vacation. I'm like, don't you want vacation?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, they have health care. Don't you want health care? You don't have health care. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. People, yeah, I don't know. We don't need to get into that. I feel like I'm obviously liberal, and it just I talk too much about it. Maybe we're not trying to be a political podcast, so you're more conservative than me. You're a
I'm much more
missionary, son.
conservative, yeah. This made me think of, I had this.
But that's how you know. That's how you know the system is broken, when a missionary's son is like, maybe we should a little more.
Well, I think Jesus' whole thing was always about the down and out. I definitely shouldn't talk religion on this podcast, but for the least of these, he always talked about. So we have an article from Psychology Today, but it made me think about, I had a couple yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday was a sea day, so we're stuck at sea, and so, you're wandering on the ship, and
Kirk does comedy on cruises. If you're new
yes,
to the pod,
sorry. And this guy's like, hey, come sit down and talk with me and my wife, which sometimes is like, the reason
they've seen your show.
we saw your show. Come sit down and talk with us. And the reason you're hesitant as a comedian is because
What's a nightmare?
you don't know what they're gonna say.
I mean, I do not want to sit beside you.
Because you don't know what they're gonna, comedians, we've had everything from like, some guy will pull me aside and go, I got a joke for you, and then say the N-word, which is like, that's all I need is somebody, I think I heard the comedian, I wouldn't say anything. Some guy walked up to me,
Yeah.
or somebody will say, something super insensitive about your son, or, you're the guy, the retarded kid or something, and then I've got to like push down what I really want to say and be like, well, technically he's cognitively delayed and has autism, but I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'm not in the mood. It's 2 PM, and I'm like,
That would ruin my day.
So you're just hesitant because you're like, how's this gonna go? And then they were saying that they have 5, I'll say 5 or 6, because it's a blended house, and their second to last has autism and higher functioning than my son. But then their youngest is a little girl, and they're 16 months apart, kind of like my kids. And Irish twins, we call it. And the youngest is neurotypical, very smart in their words, and doesn't understand why they're so much harder on her than him. And they're trying to, and it made me think about
Me?
Yeah, because I was thinking about you, and then also the relationship between JJ and my daughter, where it's like you grow up where the whole thing is always about the disabled kid. That's one of the things if I had to do again, that I'd be just, more cognizant to not go overboard. Because you're like you're in survival mode. You're trying everything.
I understand.
You're trying everything. You're trying this, trying that. But then at some point, okay, you're survival mode. But then one of the kids gets 20 years of attention.
Yeah. Well, I have you ever expressed that to your daughter?
Yeah.
You've told her that? I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you kind
I
of
should
fell through
probably
the
do it
cracks a bit.
again.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. I think she'd appreciate that, even if she's not looking for it. I think she'd really appreciate that. I know that from me going to therapy for the first time recently, like I started like maybe a year ago.
That was the first time you've been to therapy?
Yeah. Yeah. And I assume, maybe one day she'll go to therapy and she won't have to have that discussion where like she can answer, well, my dad has said that he does regret and acknowledge that he wasn't able to give me the time, whereas I don't have that. Do you know what I mean? That's all. But I don't hate my parents. I'm just always of the mindset is like life is not perfect. Life is tough, no matter who you are. And but I would have liked like some sort of like, I suppose there's still time. I mean, but I brought it up to them last time we were hanging out, and my mom just started to cry and said, "That's awful." And I was like, "I'm not going to push it any further than this." But
She said, I'm not going to push you any further than this, or you said that?
my mother cried
So
and
that's
said,
awful,
"That's
yeah.
awful." And then I thought to myself,
okay,
"I'm
got
not going to push it any further than this." Because it's like, this lady's crying.
Well, yeah, you're not trying to make her feel bad.
Yeah. So, but I would love it if they were like, yeah, we acknowledge, But I don't know what that would do for me, but I think it would
Well, I
resolve
think-
some feelings maybe.
I think sometimes as a human being, we don't, and again, I don't know anything. I'm just some dumb ex-jock, but I don't know if we always want solutions, or sometimes we do just want to be heard and acknowledged. Like, you're not crazy. That's normal to feel like that. What solution? I don't have a solution. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful.
Yeah. 100%.
And it doesn't fix it, but just it makes you feel like, okay, I'm not insane.
Mm-hmm.
I feel weird about this because it's weird.
That's right.
So, okay, good.
Well, did we do an episode?
Yeah, we couldn't get to our article. We'll do an article next week. They're all a little different. Guys, exciting news. If I can figure it out, I'm not very technically savvy, but we are going to figure out how to, because I don't think we have over 300 episodes, and I don't think our first 100 are accessible on, we've been told they're not accessible on the iTunes. I don't believe, because it only shows the last 100. We're going to put the first 200 episodes of our podcast. I didn't talk about this to you before the podcast, but we're going to put it up on Patreon, and then it's going to be behind a paywall that if you're interested and you want to check out those 200 podcasts, they are available to you.
We're trying to incentivize people to go on our Patreon and sign up for it.
Provide you some value.
Yeah, because before we're just like, go on our Patreon, give us money, and for what? I guess this podcast. But
So the math, if you gave us, there's at least going to be 200 episodes on there. So the math would be, if you give us $200 a month, you get
$200 a month.
200 episodes. Sorry, $10 a month. $10 a month.
Yeah.
Sorry. $200 a month would be great, but I meant to say 200 episodes.
Don't give us $200 a month.
No, $10 would be each episode at 5 cents, and I think it's worth 5 cents. Did I do the math right on that? I think that's right.
Hey, don't look at me.
5 cents times 200, $10.
You got it, man.
If you'd like to support us, a couple bucks a month, we'd appreciate it. All my social media.
$10 a month.
Would I say 200 again?
You said a couple bucks a month.
Oh,
That's
couple bucks.
two.
Couple bucks an episode. I meant. Sorry.
That's right.
Man, I'm struggling today, Graham.
Yeah.
If I didn't have you, they'd be sending me a couple bucks 200 times a month.
I don't even want to think about that last sentence. It's infuriating. All right.
But all my social media is Kirk Smith Comedy. And it would really help me if you would add me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, on my Instagram, there is a form in my bio. You can get to my mailing list. Get on my mailing list. I will email you when I come to your town. I'd love to come perform around the country and not do as many ships. Grandma, what's going on with you?
My name is Graham K, and you can find me at Mr. Graham K on Instagram, Mr. Graham K on Twitter. I'm also on the old Facebook. And follow me on YouTube. I'm trying to get those YouTube numbers up. It's YouTube/Graham K Comedy. Yeah, watch my special if you haven't. It's still up there on the old YouTube. And if you're in the New York area, come see my show. I do a live show about once a month about autism, growing up with taking care of my brother, what it means from us in the future. Yeah, that's it, folks. Come sign up to my email list so I can let you know when I'm going to be in your area. And you can come see my show. I'm doing pretty much an all autism show when I'm on the road these days. Yeah, and no, I'm not making fun of my brother, so stop asking that.
That's it, guys. Have a great week. You can do it.